Alright, you're good now.
Excellent. What's up, guys? I'll redo the intro, I guess. So this is Pokemon Stadium. I'm Quo. We'll be doing Gym Leader Castle Round 1. There's also a Round 2, which is sort of like a New Game Plus mode. But we'll be doing Round 1. So first of all, before we start, I have the preset teams. So you can transfer games. You can transfer Pokemon in this game, but for the actual runs, we'll be using the preset teams, which have a preset, like they have preset stats and preset moves as well. And we'll go over all that stuff when it becomes relevant. So I'm ready to go. Are we good on time? I'll take that as yes. 3, 2, 1, go. Excellent. So Pokemon Stadium, this is actually the second Pokemon Stadium game. The first one was a Japanese only game. But the concept is pretty simple. It's just the battles of Pokemon, but in 3D, back in the game, or back in the day rather. It was pretty impressive to have Pokemon in 3D, so this was a bit of a technological masterpiece, if you will. The first stadium, actually, which was Japanese only, didn't have all 151 Pokemon. It only had like 41, I think. Nice. Good start to the run. Okay. Anyways, this game does have all 151 Pokemon. We don't have access to everyone. We don't have access to Mewtwo and Mew, but we have access to everything else. So we'll be just trashing on this bug boy with our mythical bird Pokemon. So Stadium is a bit different from Gen 1. It has, so I'll talk about the differences later, but one of the more prominent differences is pretty much all the stats are lowered. So attack, defense, speed, special, and HP are all lowered. Now you might think, okay, so attack and defense both get lowered, it evens out, but health also gets lowered. So overall, this game is a lot more aggressive, whereas things do, like, percentage of the HP bar does more damage. So I'll be one-shotting a lot of things, even though we're all the same levels. That and, you know, Moltres versus a Caterpie. The first gym, there's not a lot going on. It will start picking up. So for actual runs, we don't need to do it in standard order. I'm just doing it for the marathon's sake. It just makes a bit more sense that way. And it gives me time to talk about the game's actual mechanics. But normally we would start with Giovanni since it's the least consistent, and then some people do actual reverse order. I do Giovanni, then Sabrina, then Blaine, and then the rest reverse order. It's just a preference thing. Alright. But standard order lets me talk about the game a bit. So this is the easiest fight in the game because nothing can go wrong. I outspeed and one-shot everything with Articuno. Not a lot of these fights are gonna hold true, unfortunately. There are fights later that I'm going to start sweating at. But, yeah, if anyone has any questions, so this game does have some differences from actual Gen 1.
Hey, quick question.
Yeah, go for
what's your current time on your run?
Ooh, I didn't actually start my own timer. Let's put it at 4 minutes.
About 4 minutes? Okay.
Well, actually, it's probably like 3. Actually, it's probably less.
We'll
put 3 minutes. It's fine. My estimate is, like, generous. So. Yeah, the estimate's generous because if you do lose a fight, you need to restart the entire gym. Not that big a deal right now, but there are some pretty bad fights. So for example, yesterday in practice, I died to Blaine and I died to Sabrina. So if that happens, I sort of need to redo the entire gym. It's a rough time, but that's what you get when you sign up for this game. So thankfully, Articuno's Ice Beam is 100% accurate. We aren't necessarily relying on 100% accurate moves the entire run. So if you saw the first move, which was the Fire Blast against the Butterfree, I missed. That's we'll be missing a few things. It's part of the contract you sign when you decide to sell your soul to this game. Speaking of accuracy, though, and it was brought up in chat rather. So there's a thing called Gen 1 Miss in the main series game that was actually patched in this game. So the short version for those who like math is that you have an accuracy, right? Let's say Thunder is 70% accurate. the in-game accuracy check is over 256 numbers. So Thunder's in-game accuracy is 176, I believe, which ends up being like 69.8%. So 70%, right? So it's going to roll a random number. If that number is lower than Thunder's accuracy, then it's going to hit. If it's equal or higher, it's going to miss. So in the main series game, what happens is that if you roll, or if you have a 100% accurate move that has a 255 accuracy, nice. Slash always crits, by the way. So that's actually going to miss in the main series game. In this game, it just rerolls a new number. They actually fixed it in Gen 2 with a different way, but in this game, it just keeps rolling the numbers until the random number is not 255.
This is a wild one from the word go.
They also fixed critical hit moves, so slash crit there. Fixed. Changed a bit. They fixed focus energy, which will be prominent later. It actually does what it's supposed to do. It raises your crit chance. High critical hit moves actually almost always crit. It won't crit if your speed, or it won't be guaranteed to crit if your speed is less than like 52 or something. And we're running with speeds of like 168 or something. 168 is Electrode. Right, so we're always going to crit if we have high crit moves. Or rather the opponents will, because we don't actually use high crit moves. So Gen 1 miss was fixed, but they didn't apply that fix to critical hit moves. So even though you might have a technically 100% chance to crit, it actually won't happen 1 out of 256 times. Which is... I found that interesting. Alright, on the bright side though, we did burn enough time to get past the boring fights. So we're at the first gym leader. The gym leaders aren't super different. They still have a 3 Pokemon fight sort of thing, but they each have a signature Pokemon that they're always going to bring. So in Brock's case, he's always going to bring Onix, which is fine. We one-shot Onix, so it's not that big a deal. In later gyms, though, the signature Pokemon does pose a bit of a threat. Speaking of Onix. This is also the first time ranges come into effect. There is one range. So in this game, ranges are a bit different than in later games, but it all boils down to the same thing, whereas the game will calculate the max amount of damage you can do, then basically multiply it randomly once by anything from 0.85 to 1. So you have, from the max damage roll you can do, you can go down about 15%, which would be your lowest roll. Yeah, they changed the formula a bit in later generations, but it's still overall the same idea. Speaking of the range, alright, there we go. So this is a 92% range. Ranges really don't matter here, other than losing a bit of time. But in later fights, hitting ranges is really important, so... When you hear my voice like cracking or like I start sweating, that's a sign that I'm not having a good time, but we're chilling. That is our first gym. 1 for 1 on Thunders. There you go. That stat is going to change. So Thunder is one of the moves that we rely on a lot, especially later in the run. And it is 70% accurate. On to Misty. Alright, for all you Gengar fans out there, we're going to use him once, and it's right here, so bask in all his glory while you can. How many horn drills? Hopefully I don't need to use any horn drills, because that means I messed up somewhere. Or I got really unlucky, but yeah. We do have horn drill and Nidoking just in case, but we're trying to avoid that. So we use Gengar here because Gengar has Thunderbolt instead of Thunder, which is a 100% accurate move instead of 70. And we one-shot 3 of the Pokemon, and it's arranged for the 4th one, so... Overall, someone calculated once that this was better. Speaking of, this is a 48% range, and if I miss this, he's gonna dig, and if he crits me, I die.
Pokemon are entirely different types. Savage attack.
Or I can crit. There you go. So crits in this game are pretty cool. What's Gengar's crit chance, actually? I don't know. So Gengar has a 20% chance to crit. Or 20.9 rather. Crits are tied to your speed in this game. So the faster you are, the higher the chance you have at critting. As opposed to later generations where they actually decided to balance it. So we'll see a bunch of crits because it's Gen 1, but they're not exactly something I want to rely on. There you go, 3 one-shots. Our boy Gengar pulling through. Alright, so this is among the worst fights in the game. So some teams have a sort of gimmick attached to them. This is an accuracy drop team, so she'll be using Sand Attack, Smokescreen, Flash, all of those types of moves first, sometimes twice. And it really sucks. So Seadra being good at first is good. So we start with Electrode because there's Seadra and Pidgey, which I can potentially one-shot Seadra. Okay. That's fine. So we get smoke screened. So my accuracy dropped to 75%. Thankfully, Electrode has Swift, which just completely bypasses the accuracy check. Which, fun fact, that was not a thing in the Japanese Gen 1 games. Swift was a 100% accurate move instead of just skipping the accuracy check.
Which Pokemon is coming out? Oh, it's Kadabra.
Alright, so we have Electrode, and we're just going to self-destruct. And hopefully this hits, because self-destruct can miss after a smoke screen. But that's essentially just to not have to... Nice. That crit was important, because that... wouldn't have killed otherwise.
Wow, they're down. They're both down.
So here... we'll go into Tauros.
That defeat means a Pokemon swap. Oh, it's Tauros.
So the other option was Zapdos. Okay, that was actually good because Zapdos doesn't outspeed Voltorb.
The remaining Pokemon stock is 2-1.
Wait, actually, does Tauros outspeed Voltorb? He does, excellent. What a good boy.
There's the attack.
And this will be a 2-shot, so I do need to hit through a Flash.
Brilliant flash. The move failed. Sparks are flying in this heated match.
Oh my god, if they added the announcer to, like, modern games, that'd be the best thing ever. I know they aren't thinking of, like, re-releasing Stadium, because the appeal of it was having 3D fights in, back when Pokemon was mostly 2D. And now everything's 3D, so there's no point in releasing a new Stadium sort of thing. Or that's what they were saying anyways. But I'd be a fan of the announcer. It'd be a great addition. Also, that fight went significantly better than it has in the past. Yeah, Electrode's not that good, okay? He is really fast. The fastest Gen 1 Pokemon, but... yeah. His attack stat is something to be desired. Alright, so Jolteon one-shots everything here except Clefairy, so hopefully we won't see a Clefairy, and hopefully we'll hit our Thunders. Taken down on the word go.
This is a wild one from the word go. Oh, it's Goldie. How will the type difference
Alright, so sometimes Missing Thunder loses like 20 seconds because you just need to hit another Thunder. Oh, if you're a Jolteon fan, you'll be seeing Jolteon a lot. Jolteon, Zapdos, Nidoking, and Jinx are like the MVPs of this run. Anyways, sometimes Missing Thunder sucks because you lose like 20 seconds. Not too bad. Sometimes Missing Thunder will like completely destroy a fight. So if I miss Thunder on Misty's Starmie, which is the next fight, I'll get paralyzed, which is bad. We'll talk about that if we get there.
The remaining Pokemon count is 3-1. The battle has become one-sided. Savage attack. Oh, that's
Damn.
not bad.
The streak's over.
What's this?
Nice.
Miss the target. The heated battle rages on.
Wait, was that the first or second miss? I think the first miss was Fire Blast. Excellent.
Oh, this one missed too. What now? No! Neither one is conceding an
I think so, yeah, I think the models were made by HAL.
How's that?
With, obviously, Pokemon Company, or Creatures Inc., I think, at the time. Intervened, but, yeah, it's a good time. Also, I was gonna bring this up last time, and then I forgot, and then it was the gym leader. But Pokemon, sometimes they'll be a tiny bit of a different color, so that Poliwhirl, he was a bit, more pale than your typical Poliwhirl. It's actually based on the nickname. Based on your nickname, it's, it determines, like, what color palette it's used. You don't have any nicknames, and the gym leaders don't have any nicknames, but just keep an eye out for the rest of the run. It's a good time. It's a bit of an interesting add-on. Small details like that. It's fun. Alright, so Misty's signature Pokemon is Starmie. So we'll see both stars, I guess. And if I miss on Starmie, I get paralyzed, as I mentioned, and if I get paralyzed, that really sucks, because I need to stay in, because Zapdos doesn't outspeed Starmie. So if I just switch out to Zapdos, I'll get paralyzed again. And that helps no one. Yeah, I don't want to burn all my luck too early in this game, because it's a scary game. Starting in the next gym, it starts getting a scary game. So there are some fights, like the junior fight with the accuracy drop team. Those fights suck because... Okay, crit was useless, but still, nice. Those fights suck because you can lose a lot of time. There are some fights that will just end your run because you die. And unfortunately, 3 to 4 of the 5 Elite Four fights, plus Champion, are really inconsistent. But we'll get there if we get there. But yeah, starting in Surge's gym, that's when things start picking up and start making me sweat, and not in a good way. Because it's more like there's some things in this game that you can react to, and there's some things that it's just the game slapping you around and you can't do anything about it, which is unfortunate, but I'll point it out when I get slapped around. But it should be pretty obvious. This is Team 5. So each team is tweaked a bit differently depending on what we need. But the general thing is we'll almost always have one or more of Electrode, Jolteon, and Zapdos, and then whatever we need in the back. This game has no mercy, it takes no prisoners. Speedrunning this game is pretty fun until you start trying to get good times. And then you stop having fun. It's a really fun game though. And this is round 1. Round 2 is even worse, because round 2 is harder. Speaking of things being harder, the Japanese version of this game, so Pokemon, is that not the case with every speedrun? You're not wrong. So in Japan, this is Pokemon Stadium 2, because obviously the Pokemon Stadium 1 was the Japanese only release. That game's actually worse to run because the movesets for the rental Pokemon are a bit different, and overall worse. So the first one that comes to mind. I think it's Jinx. That we use Jinx a lot for Ice Punch and Psychic, which is a really good combo. You need to restart the gym, not the game. So she has Ice Punch and Psychic, and I forget what she has in the Japanese version, but she has Bubble Beam instead of one of those. I think she has Bubble Beam and Psychic instead of Ice Punch and Psychic, which is significantly worse. This is also a range. There we go. So yeah, the Japanese version is harder to run. Oh, it's marathon safe, yeah. I mean, assuming I don't die more than once to the Elite Four. I gave myself a pretty healthy estimate just in case, but... you know. No one cares about your feelings here.
Here's the second adversary. The challenger needs to stay calm to earn victory.
Fun fact, for those of you who are observant, Electrode has 6 fingers in this game, not 5. And since they used the same models in Stadium 2, he also has 6 fingers in that game.
Earthquake. No, this Pokemon looks wrong.
Anyways, that was your fun Electabuzz fact for the day. This is also the first gym that something outspeeds us, so that's fun.
Oh, it's Porygon.
Thanks for the good luck. I will definitely need it. So one thing about crits, this is true in all Generation 1, is that the equation for crits isn't necessary, or isn't ×2 per se. Nice. It's actually about 91%, and the amount of damage it does extra is based on your level. So Porygon, for example, is a consistent 2-hit KO, but it's a range if we crit him. So, not critting him is it skips the range, I guess.
There's a distinct difference in the number of remaining Pokemon. Oh, it's Voltorb.
And this is a one-shot.
Pokemon count is 3-1. The battle has become one-sided.
So in the damage calculation, or like the whole damage, like how the game decides to do damage, Swift is checked like 3 different times. It's sort of silly, but they really, really want Swift to skip the accuracy check. Orb. Nah, the orb is dead. Am I on world record pace? Probably not. The world record for this game is crazy. I'm also not running splits. As I said before, I normally run this game in reverse order. If going in normal order, my splits would have to be blank until I get to the Elite Four. Which doesn't really help.
The gym leader is waiting right after this.
Alright, so nothing super huge about this fight. Ponyta outspeeds me, but there's a 0% chance that I get killed, which is fun. It's not perfect. It's far from perfect. I think the record run has like 12 minutes of possible time save or something. But this game is so inconsistent that 12 minutes of time loss is pretty good. Over an hour and 35 minutes.
The remaining Pokemon count is 3-2. This battle is still up in the air.
Not necessarily, but yeah, my PB was pretty good, which I still need to upload because it's a long story, but I switched computers and it's on a hard drive that's no longer in my computer because I'm dumb. But that's neither here nor there. Excellent. I think Ponyta uses Body Slam here. Yeah, Double Edge, never mind, that's what I meant. The one that does damage to itself. Alright, so Surge is the first scary fight. One of the cool things about Stadium, if you owned it and beat, I think it was Poke Cup Master Round 2? I forget exactly what it was, but you could teach your Pikachu Surf, and Surge has a Pikachu and a Raichu, and they both know Surf. Which is not good when the main Pokemon I want to use here is Nidoking, because Surf does a lot of damage. What's going on with the names? Remind me to talk about names after. I am trying to not get murdered on this fight. Alright, so Electro's first, he's going to use Self-Destruct, so we're just going to switch out. So yeah, Raichu is Surge's signature Pokemon, and he has Surf, rather. And a crit will kill my Nidoking from full health. Raichu, obviously being a fast Pokemon, has a pretty good chance to crit. Alright, so if Pikachu's second, which isn't super likely, but is possible, then a Self-Destruct will kill, which is nice. If it's... oh, it is Raichu. Okay. That actually doesn't help me at all. Actually, from here... ooh.
This battle is still up in the air. Wow, it exploded. Heavy damage.
I think from here it'd be better to go into Tauros, because that avoids the chance at,
We're waiting for
yeah, it'll avoid the chance of me dying here.
Oh, it's Tauros. How will the type difference affect that?
You can self-destruct with critical, well, you can crit with self-destructs.
Right. What's the weak?
Speaking of crits.
Oh.
Yeah, so in a 1v1 against Raichu, Tauros actually doesn't have a good chance to live.
There's only one Pokemon.
Because he takes 3 shots to kill Raichu normally, I think, if I calc that right. And Raichu can kill him in 2 turns, or can crit one of the 2 times he kills him. Or he attacks. There's a big calculation in there. Someone did it once. I'm sure they're smart enough to do it. Actually, overall, was this faster? Let's think about it. So we would have had to sit through Surf... oh no. Alright, so now it's slower. If you used like Sonic Boom or something, this would have been faster actually. But it is what it is. Can't win them all.
What's this?
Excellent. Alright, that could have gone worse.
Nail the weak spot. Wow! Going down.
That's Gym 3.
That's it. Stay clear.
Alright, so the next fight's actually pretty cool. I'll actually wait till we get there. There's like a bunch of cutscenes in this game. That was the Surge fight, by the way. So that's the first hurdle of the run, and there will be many more before the end. So we need Team 1 here. Yes, nicknames. So yeah, the Pokemon's color is dependent on their nickname. Color, like their color scheme sort of thing. I briefly mentioned it before. Also, if you do use transfers and your Pokemon have nicknames, then they show up as different colors as well, which is pretty neat. But yeah, gym leaders don't have nicknames, which is why I didn't really want to talk about it then. But yeah, it's a pretty cool addition to the game. So nothing here we can do particularly reliable, so we actually use Kabutops and Swords Dance to double our attack, and then we can one-shot pretty much everything. The only thing is that if Jigglypuff or Wigglytuff are first... okay, so I didn't get frozen, which is nice. So I didn't get frozen. Freezing is a 10% chance, and it sort of really sucks. So now we can one-shot everything. Unfortunately, all of Kabutop's moves are 85% accurate, so there is still a chance that things can go wrong. So Jigglypuff has Ice Beam, which can freeze. Wigglytuff has Sing, I think, which can put us to sleep. Rattata has Thunder, which can actually kill us if we miss too many times in a row. And there's a sad time. Wait, what's Hydro Pump's accuracy? Submission is a fighting type attack. It is pretty good.
Pokemon. Oh, it's Wigglytuff. The remaining Pokemon.
Oh, is it 80? Even better. Well, you know what? We hit the important one. 50%. Yeah. Yeah, you're not wrong.
That didn't take much. And there goes the battle.
Alright, Kabutops carrying us through this fight. But yeah, this fight really sucks if you don't have Kabutops, because you can be frozen, you can be put to sleep, or you can be paralyzed by pretty much everything on this team, and it's a bad time all around. Okay, so normally the team compositions are pretty much random. Like there is some AI stuff with what Pokemon they choose. I have never seen this fight go any differently than Seeking first and Pidgeot either second or third. It's like always, always, always that, no matter what. Also, Seeking's guaranteed to live that if I don't crit, so that's not it's not a thing. Oh, there's also Staryu in this fight, which is really cool. So if I get a special drop with Psychic, Staryu turn 1 sets up Light Screen. This is a screen team. They'll set up Light Screen all the time and Reflect. Staryu will set up Light Screen, and then since it's special dropped, it's going to go in like oh shit mode and then just spam Recover until either I crit or I don't know. It spams Recover a lot. Pretty much until you crit, which is like a 22% chance for Jinx, I think.
No, this Pokemon looks wrong.
Old Jinx.
One-hit wonder. There's only one Pokemon
Yeah,
left
no
in
comments.
reserve. Oh, it's Pidgeotto.
Alright, so this is a 10% range. This sort of sucks, so it'll either use Quick Attack,
2-1. The 10th battle
excellent,
continues.
or it'll use Fly, and if I don't hit the range and it does use Fly, then I waste even more time. But in this case, it'll probably Quick Attack twice. I slap.
Vigorous attack. Smack the weak spot.
Yeah, I've never hit this range.
The heated battle rages on.
Fun Jinx fact, not in this game, but in Pokemon Snap. Jinx was actually changed when the game was ported to the Wii Virtual Console. Her face became purple, but her hands were still black. And then in the Wii U version, her face and hands were purple. So, there you go. That is your Jinx fact for the day. Dude, we're on 2 facts now. Holy. Fly crit. No, it would not have been insane to watch. Whose team are you on? Okay, I have a lot of facts, but they need to be like facts that people don't know. I can spew off facts about things that people know about, but that's not interesting for anyone. Like if I say Lickitung can't learn Lick in Gen 1, like everyone knows that. Dragonair fact. I don't think I have any Dragonair facts. That's unfortunate. So Supersonic has a 55% chance to hit. Excellent. Can you learn Crabhammer? I'm not sure, but I will tell you that there are 4 high critical hit moves in this game, which are Slash, Razor Leaf, Crabhammer, and... Oh my god, what's the last one? I forget. Is it Karate Chop? I forget. Anyways, so the high critical hit moves are actually hard-coded to crit. It's not like a move effect or something, whereas, you know, if the chance to freeze, for example, it's a move effect. High critical hits moves are like hard-coded to that move's ID. Ooh, nice. That's actually a range. Is it? Yes, it is. No, that's a 2-shot normally, so that's actually a really good crit. So it looks like we don't see Chansey here, which is super, super good, because the strat against Chansey is use Ice Beam until it's frozen or it lands Sing on you, and then you switch out. Is it a normal move? What's the fourth? There are 4 high critical hit moves. Slash, Razor Leaf, Crab Hammer. There's another one. It'll come back to me. Yeah. So there is something else in this game. So if a lot of people know like Smogon rules, there's a sleep clause. That's actually also in this game. It's like hard-coded in, which is really nice. So if I get put to sleep, I can switch out and can't be put to sleep again until my original Pokemon wakes up. So that actually happens with both sleep and freeze. So if I get frozen, I can switch out and I can't get frozen again, which is very nice. You can get put to sleep and frozen, not on the same Pokemon obviously, but like on 2 different Pokemon. They're not mutually exclusive. But yeah, it's pretty nice. So this is Erica. Her signature Pokemon is Gloom, even though she has a Vileplume and a Victory Bell, which are the Stage 3 evolutions, but you know, Gloom is her signature Pokemon for some reason. Erica is like the biggest pushover in the fight.
The Pokemon are entirely different types.
So assuming I hit everything, everything just gets 1 shot and I outspeed it. But if I do miss, yay, then I get put to sleep. And this is where the real fun begins. This is where Pokemon Stadium shows its true colors. And I start to cry.
Here's a Pokemon thing. Oh, it's Articuno! What's this?
Yeah, so now thankfully Gloom can't put Articuno to sleep. This is a 82% range. And hopefully we get Weepinbell in the back, because that's the best range that's left. Execute's actually 1-shot, but we dealt with that first. Leftovers is fun.
There's a difference in the number of reserve Pokemon. Oh, it's Victory Bell!
Okay, so this is a 2-shot with Ice Beam. So, unfortunate, but it is what it is. It can't put me to sleep, so...
The battle has become one-sided. Ice Beam! That's the weak spot! What'll it do?
Curse. Oh god. Gen 2 is scary. There's a reason I don't run Stadium 2, and that is because I ran Stadium 1. But there's another reason I don't run Stadium 2, and that's because it's also a scary game. And that was Erica. She bullied me today, as with every other day, but you know what? I'm used to it at this point. Alright, so Koga's gym is next. Excellent. There's actually a few cool fights in this game. So I mentioned earlier that stats and moves are preset for the rental Pokemon. And the way they decided to balance it was that generally the higher evolution Pokemon, the higher stage Pokemon rather, have worse moves. And that ends up being that Abra with Psychic does more damage than Alakazam with, I think, has Psywave. So we use Abra instead, because he does more damage. This is a 2% range, let's go. This is a 1 in 39 chance, unless I get a crit. Alright. So this actually sucks, because like 98% of the time Tentacruel switches out if you don't kill him. Which wastes time. It is a cool tent. Alright, he didn't switch out. What does this mean? I think he only switches out if coughing or wheezing are in the back, I think. So we probably won't see coughing or wheezing. Never mind, I lied. So the way that damage ranges work in this game, so I briefly mentioned it before, but I didn't go into the details. So the game is gonna roll random numbers until it gets one that's either 217 or higher, with a maximum of 255. So each one of those possibilities, so either 217, 218, 219, 220, whatever, all the way to 255, is a possible range. So if I end up rolling a 255, which is a 1 in 39% chance, then that would have killed Tentacruel, but no other possibility would have, which ends up being not 2%, but in my notes I write 2% because it's the closest whole number. You can't blame me for the 2-hour estimate, okay? Like, I'm hoping this run ends in like the 145 range, but I'm not banking on that. $2.56, damn. Hours is aggressive. Okay, yesterday in practice I died at both Sabrina and Blaine. And I didn't even do a full run. Oh, this is the high critical hit team. What's Machoke gonna use? This is a 2-shot, by the way. Also, Kingler's a 3-shot. I hope I don't see Kingler. I'm pretty sure he'll use the high crit move. Is it Karate Chop? It's not Karate Chop, okay. Unless that was the Gen 1 miss. I'm gonna look this up, because this is dumb. The fact that it's not coming to me. Moves with high critical hit ratios.
Which Pokemon is coming out?
Cross Chop, that's the move.
Oh, it's Kingler!
Oh wait, no, that was in Generation 3. I'm dumb. Alright, so this is a 3-shot? Wait, is it Karate Chop? Because if it's Karate Chop, then I got the 1 in 256 chance of not... Ooh, that's actually a good crit.
What's that? Drill that weak spot. Sparks are flying in this heated match.
Yeah, Cross Chop isn't in Gen 1. I'm dumb. Don't listen to what I have to say.
What now?
So it is Karate Chop. There you go. So you guys witnessed Stadium's version of the Gen 1 miss.
There's a difference in the number of reserve Pokemon. Oh, it's Sandslash!
Just keep critting.
The remaining Pokemon count is 3-1. The battle has become one-sided. Savage attack! Wow, that's an effective hit! Wow, taken down with one hit! And there goes the battle!
By the way, that was a high critical hit team, which is why I was pretty sure he was going to use the right thing. That's that team's gimmick, but a lot of the teams have like gimmicks, we just don't ever see them because we sort of steamroll everything. I'm still going to use Thunder. I don't trust myself to not use Thunder, because in most cases Thunder is still better. It's just scary. This game scares me. It appears in my nightmares. Self-destruct everything that's not Slowbro. Aw, man. So I found a really cool strat for this fight, but it turned out to be slower because of the chance of getting Abracadabra first. But if I did that strat, it would have actually been faster.
This is a wild one from the word go. Oh, it's Persian. It has to make up for lost ground. The Pokemon are entirely different types.
Alright, so the only thing that I don't want to see here is Hypno, because he takes forever to kill. Also, Slowbro will take forever to kill. Yeah, this is another one of the fights that really suck. But I have double explosion just in case, which I ended up not using. Because if I do get Abracadabra here, okay, that actually would have been fine. But if I were to get Abracadabra here, it wastes a lot of time. How does recoil work in Gen 1? It is, I think it's 33% of the damage that you do? Actually, we can check. So I did 59, 109, that's 50, 119. 60. So it's 64 damage, and I took 16. So I guess it's like a quarter. But you don't receive recoil if you kill your opponent.
There's only one Pokemon left in reserve.
So I'll get recoil if I don't kill, but I won't get recoil if I do kill. Excellent, Abra's a one-shot.
The remaining Pokemon stock is 2-1. The tense battle continues. How's that? A savage hit! Wow! Take it down with one hit! And there goes the battle!
Playing Stadium is pretty cool. Running Stadium is not for the faint of heart. Oh, we have a raid, let's go. Our boy Mind of Damon. Alright, so this is Koga. His signature Pokemon is Venomoth. Which isn't super great for us because we do rely on Abra once Jinx dies, because Jinx dies like 4/5 of the time. And Venomoth speed ties with Abra, so it does sort of fall down to a coin flip if Abra is in the back. We do have Articuno just in case. Oops. Just in case. But yeah, everything here is a two-shot, pretty much. And Weezing and Muck do a ridiculous amount of damage. Or can kill me with a crit, that's cool too. Or can't kill me with a crit, interesting. Is that a range? Koga's Weezing versus Jinx. Oh, it's a 25% range for a crit. Interesting. And Venomoth being out here now is good because Jinx does outspeed it. So if I do need to rely on Abra, then Abra's not going to die. That means that whatever's in the back is probably a Nido or Venonat. Alright, that's useless to us because he uses Body Slant Double Edge. Alright, so Abra can clean up. Yeah. Alright, so this is a speed tie. So it is a 50% chance that I move first. Sort of banking on that, but... I'm not sure if he can kill me with a crit, but my gut says no. Alright, whatever. It's useless anyways, because we outspeed. Or we won the speed tie, rather.
There's only one Pokemon left in reserve.
Where's Nyx? Nyx, figure out my notes. Nice. So Abra actually has a better special stat than Jinx. So this is actually a consistent one-shot as opposed to Jinx having a 79% range. But that is Koga's gym. And now is where I start sweating. Alright, so team 3 for Sabrina. No, don't talk about Dashlar. We need to get past this fight before we see Dashlar anyways. God, Sabrina, I hope so. Or like, God, I wish Sabrina would be over. Excellent. So this fight can suck if the cue ball brings both Dugong and Dragonair, because Dugong will use Skull Bash, and it's pretty much guaranteed a 3-hit. So it's going to be able to hit Skull Bash. And Dugong has Hyper Beam, which if it hits, it'll kill me after Skull Bash. So let's see what happens. It is Dugong, okay. So there's a chance that Dragonair's in the back. Also, even if I do get a crit, it's not a guaranteed 2-shot. It's still a range, and it's a pretty bad one. It's like 33% or something. Okay. I think this is actually outside of the range. So if I don't crit again... What is the range on this anyways? Jinx versus... Amazing. Okay, so that has a range of 53 to 63, so that has a... And he does have Dragonair. Excellent. So it would have been a 5 in 39 chance to kill from there. But not needed. And we get a crit anyways. Not that that crit mattered, but it's nice anyways. Wait, no, it didn't matter. That's normally a 2-shot. Holy crap. Skull Blast does not increase defense. But even then, Psychic is a special type move, so it wouldn't bother. Yeah, usually it does, and usually it Hyper Beams. I forgot about that. I'm just like, Ice type move, Dragon, Pokemon, dead. But that is clearly not the case. Okay, so... Ninetales is a range. Ninetales almost always uses Bide, so even if I've missed the range, it's not the end of the world. The Burglar does have Rapidash, and Rapidash moves before us. Rapidash also has Horn Drill, and Rapidash likes using Horn Drill against Nidoking. So this fight really sucks if Rapidash is first or second and uses Horn Drill. It still sucks if Rapidash is third and uses Horn Drill. But I don't want to get Horn Drilled. I can count on my hands how many times I haven't seen Burglar bring out Rapidash. So it's sort of a stressful time all the time.
Which Pokemon is coming out? Oh, it's Rolla.
Everything else I do one-shot, including Rapidash. Rapidash does move first though. So I just need to survive one Horn Drill, but the rest of the fight is pretty easy.
No, this Pokemon looks wrong.
Counting on... How else would I count?
There's a distinct difference in the number
Alright, let's see it.
Pokemon.
Oh, alright. Alright.
The remaining Pokemon count is 3-1. The battle has
So no chance to die here. Excellent.
How's that?
I hope that didn't use up all the rest of my good luck.
Gone! It's a one-hit wonder.
What? No, user knows to count to 11.
And there goes the battle.
Alright, anyways, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, the next fight is the worst one in the game. It really sucks. This is the medium fight, and the gimmick of the medium fight is a confusion team. So it's going to use Supersonic and Confuse Ray pretty much all the time, with very few exceptions. Although sometimes it doesn't, and that's really nice when it happens. Optimally, I'll get the 3 Ghosts, but if I get Golbat or Tentacruel, that's really bad, and if I get Lickitung, it's not fantastic.
What kind of battle can we expect?
Okay, so thankfully I outspeed Ghastly. There's actually a chance that Ghastly switches, and if Ghastly switches into Haunter or Gengar... Okay, never mind. It would have been really good, but that's fine. So Ghastly's not a threat.
This Pokemon looks wrong.
Dash Lee.
That was quick. a wild one from the word go. Oh, it's Tentacle.
Okay, so the strat for Tentacruel is that hope that it misses its Hydro Pump, because it will kill me if it lands Hydro Pump. And then I need to kill it with Earthquake.
Oops, that's a miss.
Excellent. Calculated.
Whoa, looks like a bad
This is also a range, by the way.
choice.
Okay.
Why? Take it down with
I think the actual strat is you're supposed to switch out to Jolteon there, but
in the number of remaining Pokemon.
yeah. Licktong's actually not bad. It's a it's a 3-shot actually.
The remaining
Alright, so there's like a
Pokemon
99.9% chance that Lickitung tries to Supersonic me here. But the fact that I'm only getting this on my 3rd turn is actually pretty nice. Supersonic is 55% accurate. Okay. And this is the exact moment the game stops being fun. Okay, that's one.
What now?
I just need to hit one more.
There, it's a hit. Oh, a horrible streak. Its defense is down.
If you see like sparkly stuff on the screen, that's just my N64 overheating. Don't worry about it. Alright, so that's...
Uh-oh, it's
You know, 50-50 is not bad.
What's that? The Pokemon feeling it. What a furious bounce. It shook off its
Excellent, there you go. That fight has been significantly worse, many times over. So you know what?
Is it down and out?
I'm a happy boy.
And there goes the battle!
Alright, so there's no like super scary fights until the Sabrina fight. So this is the Sabrina fight. Alakazam is her signature Pokemon, but the actual scary Pokemon is, we actually don't see it first, is Hypno, because Hypno will try to put me to sleep. And not getting Hypno first is actually really good, because that sort of promises that he might not be here at all, which would be really nice. It is good, and that should be a one-shot.
Take it down on the word go! There's been major
We're really
action
feeling
already.
it. Alakazam, so here I need to Sky Attack. Alakazam has... What's the move? I think it's Psywave. Like, oh, excellent. He uses Toxic. He has Psywave or something, Psy something, which can confuse me. And I don't like being confused. Sky Attack isn't 100% accurate, it's only 90. So I am sort of risking it here, because it is a 2-turn move, and... Psybeam, that's the one. No confusion. Yeah, Sky Attacker really sucks when you miss, because it's a 2-turn move, and it takes a long time. That was a guaranteed one-shot anyways. But since Special Attack and Special Defense are one stat in this game, using Fire Blast would not have been recommended. I guess Moltres does have Takedown. I wonder if that 2 shots... It would just recoil, which sort of sucks. Yeah. Cool. Alright. So now we can just clean up with Moltres.
Fire Blast! Perfect day!
Oh, never mind, that's a different...
Yeah, it's a hit!
Does approximately 0 damage.
Fireworks are flying in this battle. Savage attack! Super
Okay, I was like half expecting that to miss, and he just crits my Moltres and dies.
going down!
Alright, 6 down.
That's it!
Yes, that was a really nice fight because I didn't see a Hypno. We will probably see Hypno again though, because there's... Oops, nope, we're not doing Sabrina again. Because there's a fight in this... Yeah, this gym, I think, that uses Hypno as well, which sort of sucks, but... Alright, so we'll be using Jinx here. So I'm probably going to be Psychicking whatever's out, unless it's Nidoking, never mind. And then one small speed strat here is that if I have a choice between Psychic or Ice Punch, I will choose Ice Punch because its animation is a bit faster than Psychic. So for the next Pokemons, if I don't one-shot them, the first move will be Psychic because it does a bit more more damage, and then the second one will be Ice Punch just to save a few frames. Also, this is a Focus Energy team. Focus Energy actually functions properly in this game as opposed to the main series Gen 1 game. So Focus Energy... I'm actually not going to explain it because it's a calculation and it's confusing. There's like a base calculation and Focus Energy adds to the base calculation and then multiplies by 2. The short version is... so just to make it simple, if you had 944 speed, you would be guaranteed to crit, because speed is based on your crit. If you use Focus Energy, and you had 274 speed, you'd be guaranteed to crit. So that's... it just shows a bit of a difference with what Focus Energy does. As opposed to moves with high critical hit ratios, you always crit if you have 52 speed, which everything except 3 Pokemon, which I think are Slowpoke, and 2 other Pokemon that are slow. I think Magnemite's one of them. Everything has more speed than that. Okay, let's sim a champ. Excellent. All 3 2-hit Pokemon. That's what you love to see.
The battle has become one-sided. A Psychic Blast! The special stat is down.
Yes, that is not a range. It never kills, but... it's so sad. He only has 4 health left. Could this be world record? Any Pokemon Stadium run that is not over could be world record. I actually don't know what my pace is because I'm not running splits because I don't want to be depressed.
And there goes the battle!
Just gotta get pumped. We're in world record pace, boys. Yeah, keep in mind... Oh, this is the other fight with Hypno that I like lose a minute if Hypno comes out, which is really cool. But yeah, the hard parts and the fights that will lose a lot of time, a lot of them are coming up. That's actually really nice. Again, if Hypno's not first, he's most likely not in the back, which is really cool. Because the strat is to substitute, and then you Sky Attack him, and then you Thunder him. So assuming you hit both Sky Attack and Thunder, you have 1 turn for substitute, 2 for Sky Attack, and 1 for Thunder, as opposed to just, if I get, like, Slowbro, Poliwrath, and Starmie, then I just Thunder everything. Is that a range? I thought that was a one-shot. I'm pretty sure that's a one-shot. Zapdos, Thunder versus... what are we at? Psychic Slowbro? No, that is a one-shot. This is also one-shot. Yeah, all the waters are one-shot. It's all good.
There's a difference in the number of reserve Pokemon.
Beautiful fight.
The remaining Pokemon count is 3-1. The battle has become one-sided. Savage attack. Oh,
Okay, well, can't win them all.
what now?
That is... okay. I didn't die.
Rage is on. There it goes.
welcome to Pokemon Stadium.
Hydro Pump.
Welcome to Pokemon Stadium.
Neither one is conceding an inch. How's that?
Excellent.
Gone! It's a one-hit
Peak State. I have a highlight. It couldn't be a clip because it was 4 minutes long, but there were like 12 Thunder misses in a row between me and the opponent. It was really cool. It was really peak Stadium time. And again, if you guys are curious why I'm using Thunder as opposed to like a Thunderbolt or something, I can't actually set the moves on the Pokemon. And Zapdos and Jolteon and Electrode all have Thunder, so I don't get to choose here. So this fight's actually pretty cool. Yeah, it was a cool trainer M or cool trainer mail. This is a explosion team, which would sort of suck, except Zapdos has substitute, so we just substitute twice and then kill whatever's in the back.
It created a substitute. It used self-destruct. The substitute disappeared.
Speedrunning Stadium and resetting on Rocket.
Going down.
Oh yeah, relying on Thunder is absolutely ridiculous, but we don't have another option. Oh crap, where's CJ?
How will the type difference
CJ loves Lemgo the Martyr.
It created a substitute.
I mean, there's some things that I'm sure Zapdos' Thunderbolt could kill.
The substitute was used up. Wow! Going down.
I would like the option as opposed to, you know, Zapdos' fourth move is Flash, other than Thunder, Sky Attack, and Substitute. Muck. Okay, so from Muck we switch to Nidoking, I think. Yes.
The remaining Pokemon count is 3
And it's a
to
two-shot
1.
from here, but that's fine.
The battle has become one.
Mole trash.
Oh, there's going to be a change of Pokemon. Oh, it's Nidoking. What's this?
I mean,
The attack wasn't effective. How will the SWAT Pokemon
Golem is a bunch of rocks, so you could have like a Molten Core or something that just gets really hot and explodes. Snorlax eats a lot. He eats approximately 880 pounds of food per day. There you go. That's your Snorlax fact. Pulled straight from the Pokedex.
The heated battle rages on. How's that? Devastating.
Alright, that crit would have been nice last turn, but you know what?
And it's down.
Okay. So this is the blame fight, and this is where I start sweating. What is this? Alright, so Blaine almost always picks Charizard turn 1. Like, I'd say 75% of the chance of the time. So it's not unlikely that he doesn't pick Charizard, but it's pretty likely. And I have Tentacruel. So Charizard doesn't one-shot Tentacruel, but Charizard with crit one-shots Tentacruel. Charizard also moves first, by the way. It is Charizard, there you go. So I need to not get crit. And then I need to hit a Hydro Pump. So I need to not... You know, Charizard has, I think, an 18% chance to crit here.
Savage attack.
And there it is, excellent.
Word go. Taken down on the word
So,
go.
my chances of finishing this fight
Major action already.
are significantly worse now.
Oh, it's Jolteon.
Jolteon doesn't die to an Earthquake, but it will die to an Earthquake crit.
Entirely different type. Whoa!
Assuming I don't miss Thunder. Excellent. Alright. I like it. Now we just need a crit here. Okay. I still have a chance to redeem myself, but even then, Jolteon doesn't one-shot Charizard, which means they'll have to switch into Starmie. Starmie has Bubble Beam and Thunder, and Starmie can't take out 2 Pokemon because Starmie does not have very good special. Okay. It does one-shot? What? Are my notes wrong? Do I deceive myself?
We're waiting for the
Jolteon Thunder versus Charizard. Blames Charizard. 92% range. Alright, there you go. So I'm actually going to save Jolteon for later and I'm going to start me. There's a really cool calculator for this game. So I did mention the stats are different, so we can't use like Showdown's calculator or something. Okay, good. Yeah, so we can't use Showdown's calculator, so there's a separate calculator in Google Sheets, which I made, which is pretty cool. I think so anyways. Speaking of, and it is really cool, okay? Speaking of, so some moves have secondary effects, such as Body Slam can paralyze you. Moves with secondary effects can't affect Pokemon that are the same type as the move. Magmar can paralyze me because I'm a water type, and Body Slam's a normal type move. It can also paralyze Jolteon because Jolteon's a thunder, or electric type rather. But it wouldn't be able to paralyze, for example, Tauros, because it's a normal type attack. Sort of like you can't thunder a Zapdos and paralyze it. Okay, so I'm just gonna sack Starmie here because I did take a bunch of damage on Jolteon. And yes, this is actually really scary. Also, just to note, that's only for secondary. I think I'm actually dead here unless I crit. So that is only for secondary effects. For Thunder Wave, for example, you can paralyze electric type Pokemon. I'm 100% dead here. Yeah, this can't miss. Unfortunate. Alright. We're running back, boys. Gen 1 miss is not a thing in Stadium. It was patched out. I wonder what pace I was on. I don't have my splits running right now, but it didn't feel like a bad run up until that point.
Here comes the first opponent. An easy victory should be within reach.
Alright, because I have nothing else to talk about, we're just gonna go over the exact same commentary. So this is Judo Boy. He has 3 Pokemon that are 1-shots and 3 that are 2-shots. Primate is actually a 1-shot Pokemon, which is really nice. 113, I have no idea what that means because I generally run this game in reverse gym order instead of regular order. 113 though, if I was at, so I would have finished probably Giovanni at 125, and then it's about 12 minutes for the Elite Four. So 137, that's actually not bad, assuming that I didn't die on anything. So Stadium doesn't have Gen 1 miss. So the way that Gen 1 miss works is that if the game rolls a 255 on the accuracy check in the main series Gen 1 games, that would cause it to miss. In Stadium, if you roll a 255, it would just keep re-rolling numbers until it gets something that's not 255. But Gen 1 miss sort of happens with critical hits. If you're guaranteed a crit, you do have a 1 in 256 chance to not crit. So Persian Slash, for example, has a small chance to not crit. This is also a 1-shot. Excellent. This fight went better than last time.
The battle has become one-sided. Savage attack.
Yeah, they patched it in this game, and then in Gen 2 they patched it a different way. So in Gen 2, if you roll a 255, it just hits. It always hits. If you have like if you try to hit a horn drill and you roll a 255, it'll hit. Don't quote me on that though, I do need to double check that, but I also don't run any Gen 2 games. That's just my understanding based on some things that I read. As opposed to this game, I am pretty certain with my knowledge of it. Alright, so this is another fight that has Hypno as opposed to the Sabrina fight as well. So hopefully we won't see Hypno as a lead, but if we do, that takes like 4 turns and wastes a minute. Excellent. So Slowbro is actually pretty good here. Although Slowbro does have Psychic, and the amount of times that I've been hit by Psychic and had my special lowered, which makes the one-shots not one-shots, is sort of ridiculous. Thankfully we hit it, which is a one-shot KO. Now hopefully he has 2 other water types in the back, because those are also one-shot KOs. What is up, XP Bushman? Hope you're having a lovely evening. Alright, 2 for 2.
The Pokemon are entirely different types.
And yeah, based on the fact that he did bring Poliwrath second, then he wouldn't have like Jinx or Hypno in the back, so I'm pretty sure it would be Starmie last. Like, there's a very small chance this is something other than Starmie. This is the N64, right? Yes.
Remaining Pokemon. Oh, it's Starmie.
Yeah, which is why everything looks like it's made of squares.
The battle has become one-sided.
I was gonna say something. Yeah, so the teams are random, but the AI still makes intelligent enough decisions. Whereas, you know, if you have the chance of useless crit, but still nice. So if you have the chance of bringing out, you know, a Cloyster or a Golem against a Zapdos, they would burn out the Golem. They're not dumb. Alright, so this is an explosion team. He'll use self-destruct for his first 2 Pokemon. Generally, after he self-destructs once, he'll use the second Pokemon just to kill whatever's left.
They strike fighting poses.
Which is pretty nice. Executor coming up first here is really cool, because he's like the worst Pokemon to get third. Just because you need to rely on a Sky Attack, and at that point you're already at half health. But that is clearly not the case here.
Major action already.
Muck second, alright. So if Cloyster does come up third, that is the perfect fight, because Zapdos can one-shot Cloyster. If it's anything else, though, I will need to switch, so what could it be? So Snorlax is a 2-shot with Thunder, Golem might switch to Starmie, and then Electrode, I would switch to Nidoking. Like the graphics better here. I mean, they put a lot of love into this game. Like all the animations and stuff. Actually a pretty big complaint of people who play later games, where it's like, why did you do this so many years ago, and yet you can't actually give me good animations, but I play with animations off anyways.
What's this? Oh, that's a miss. How will the swapped Pokemon fight? What'll it do? Boom! Earthquake! Wow, that's an effective hit! Down! That didn't take much!
Alright, sorry, I had to roast my friend about his favorite hockey team. Yeah, first of all, the amount of Pokemon, second of all, the amount of moves that they need to animate, it's a bit crazy. But, you know, bit of a shame. Alright, so this is Blaine. Blaine sort of sucks because he usually leads with Charizard. If he does lead with Charizard... Oh, excellent. He doesn't lead with Charizard. So Rapidash does outspeed me, but does significantly less damage. So Charizard can kill me with a crit, and if he does kill me with a crit, the run is basically on life support. Stomp does like 34 to 41 damage, so it does essentially 0. And Hydro Pump one-shots here if I hit it. There you go. So Blaine's signature Pokemon is Charizard, so we're guaranteed to see Charizard here. From here, so from here, a Fable. Interesting. He's saving Charizard for last. Okay, that's fine.
The Pokemon are entirely different types. What's this? Harsh Blow.
Of course. Okay, so we're just gonna, whenever Charizard comes out, we're just gonna sack Tentacruel, because I would rather finish this fight this time instead of hoping and praying. Because I don't want it. My dude, you can't go around Twitch advertising your channel like that. It is not how Twitch.tv works. But yeah, I'll sack Tentacruel here. Just so I can actually finish this fight.
The remaining Pokemon count is 3-1. The battle has become one-sided. Earthquake! It's doubly effective! Oh!
Okay, so from here, Starmie can finish it off. I'll keep Jolteon in the back just in case, because I would need to rely on hitting Thunder.
Oh, it's Starmie!
Mods are sleep post dogs.
The remaining Pokemon stock is 2-1. The combatants are making sparks fly. There it goes! Wow, that's an effective hit! What now? Nail the weak spot! Neither one is...
Excellent, and Bubble Beam is 100% accurate. So that's Blaine. There you go.
Bubble Beam!
First try.
Super effective! Wow! Going down! That's it! Stay clear!
Alright. So Giovanni's gym is really brutal. None of the fights are particularly dangerous. They can lose a bunch of time though. So generally speaking, most people choose to do this gym first, just because it is so inconsistent and can waste a absolute crap ton of time. And we'll see why. First of all, the first fight, wow, is really inconsistent.
Here's the first opponent of this gym series.
Alright, so we're basically relying on hitting Thunders all the time. Persian moves first. Persian also has Body Slam, and Body Slam has a 30% chance to paralyze us, which is unfortunate. This is Pokemon Stadium for the Nintendo 64. Excellent, a crit and a paralysis. This is what I want to see.
What a furious battle!
Jesus.
What's this?
Oh my god. Alright, so there's another strat in this fight which uses Jolteon instead of Zapdos. It's a little less consistent in case I do run into Parasect, but Jolteon does outspeed Persian, thankfully. So at least we're not waiting on, Jesus Christ.
What's that? Heavy damage! Fireworks are flying in this battle. There it goes! That's it! What'll it do? There, it's a hit! Neither one is conceding an inch. Body slam!
God damn it.
Oh! Is it down and out? There's a distinct difference in the number of remaining Pokemon. Oh, it's Articuno! There's only one Pokemon.
Alright, so Articuno, thankfully, has a 100% accurate move. So unless he paralyzes me, and I'd be fully paralyzed here. Excellent, so we're at least doing some damage here. He's not gonna completely wipe me.
Savage attack. Severe hit. The heated battle rages on.
I've never used Articuno in this fight. If you freeze a Pokemon, they switch out, and then you can't freeze as another Pokemon because there's a freeze clause. This is like, yeah, this is the point of the run where you cry.
It's finally taken down.
Oh yeah, a normal run would have reset like the moment you get paralyzed by Persian, because this is what happens. Now thankfully, if there is a Parasect in the back, I don't get hard walled by Jolteon, which basically relies on one pin missile and then one pin missile crit.
The combatants are making sparks fly. Yeah, it's a hit.
I actually don't know what Articuno outspeeds. If it's like Dodrio or Golbat in the back, I think... Okay, that crit probably matters. Let's see.
We're down to one.
It could be Moltres. It's probably Golbat or Dodrio. It's not Parasect. Okay, so I think Golbat outspeeds me here. And it has Double Edge, which probably kills at this point.
The battle is coming right down to the wire. Boom!
Oh. This probably one-shots? Wait, Thunder doesn't one-shot? What does Thunder not one-shot? Zapdos' Thunder one-shots Eradicate. Jolteon's Thunder does not one-shot Eradicate. Calculated. Excellent.
It's a one-hit wonder. And there goes
Easy.
the battle.
Absolutely nothing went wrong. Speaking of things going wrong, this is the Labman fight. The Labman fight is... So if you remember the Junior F fight, which was the accuracy drop team, this is the sister fight, which is the evasion team. So it will spam double team when it can. And it sort of sucks. Also, if it starts with Magneton, I need to switch out, and if I switch out and he has Pharaoh in the back, he's going to switch out. Okay, that's fine. So hopefully he doesn't spam double team.
They go into battle. Oh, with a drop.
So Magneton's in the back. Okay, that's actually really bad because now I need to kill Magneton with Jolteon. So if I switch out to Nidoking, then they'll switch back to Fearow. And it just sucks. This is a 4-shot. Or a 5-shot, I forget. But yeah, so if Lickitung is first, the strat that Lickitung uses is double team 6 times, and then Blizzard. And it sort of really sucks. Drill time, I'm going for Drill type. Horn Drill is probably a better idea here. But I just don't want to sit in front of a team that uses double team, and I'm just clicking the drill team, the Horn Drill button. Alright, so from here, Thunder has a 48% chance to hit.
What a furious battle! What'll it do? That was weak.
Alright.
It's concentrating on its status. The intense battle continues.
Alright, so from here, Thunder has a 40... Oh, wait, what? Might have lied the first time. Now it has a 46% chance to hit. What was wrong then?
What's this?
0.75 times 0.7. 52.2. Okay, now it has a 46.
The heated battle rages on. What's that? Miss the target.
Swift, and this is going to do a lot of damage because I'm at like -6 defense.
Major damage.
Have you ever seen Swift two-shot something? You're about to.
Heated match. What'll it do? That's a miss. It's a swift attack.
Swift would be nice, but we actually... Oh, we do have Electrode on this team. But I didn't bring it. I brought Zapdos instead.
What Pokemon will be fighting next?
I can't go into Nidoking because they'll just switch out to Zapdos, and then I can't do anything like that unless I Horn Drill.
It's 2 Pokemon against 3 now. This battle is
46%.
in the air.
There we go.
It's a hit.
Love to see it.
It's finally taken down. Which Pokemon is coming out? Here's a Pokemon.
Interesting. So since Fear is coming out, that means in the back is probably either Poliwrath or Kabutops, which means that it's a one-shot. Unless I miss and they just keep on double teaming until I cry again.
Whoa! Looks like a bad Pokemon choice. Down! That didn't take much. There's only
So between almost dying to the Rocket fight and the Labman fight taking approximately 700 turns. Interesting. This is still a one-shot anyways.
remaining Pokemon stock is 2-1. The 10th
I hope you guys understand why we do Giovanni's gym first.
A savage hit. Gone. It's a one.
Giovanni is actually the least worst part of this gym because the Cool Trainer M fight also sucks. No, it's not a shiny, so there weren't shinies in Gen 1. But the color palette of the Pokemon depends on their nickname, and since all the Pokemon except the gym leader's Pokemon are nicknamed, some of them have a bit different colors. So it's just it's not a shiny, but it's a bit of an added flair to this game. Ah, I forgot to say the Raichu fact. So back in Surge's gym, I was supposed to say the Raichu fact, and the Raichu fact is that if Raichu does use Surf, which it didn't use Surf, it rides its tail instead of a surfboard, and that sort of is inspired with Alolan Raichu in Gen 7? Gen 6? Gen 7. So this fight really sucks if he brings Zapdos. Zapdos not being first is a pretty promising sign. 7, yes. Gen 7 was Sun and Moon. And Sun and Moon 2 Electric Boogaloo. Okay, it is Zapdos. So Zapdos will try to Thunder Wave me until you're at a specific health threshold, which I'm not entirely sure what it is. I think it's 88. But after 2 substitutes, it stops trying to use Thunder Wave. And you really don't want to be paralyzed. And you can't paralyze, poison, or put to sleep things that are behind a substitute, which is why we use it. I don't think you can burn or poison either. That's very nice. Do I risk a 70% chance on potentially losing a lot of time? Let's do it. Let's risk it all on a Thunder. Because it's not like this fight isn't... This run isn't bad already. Easy. Easy. Calculated.
There's a difference in the number of reserve Pokemon. Oh, it's Clefable.
Alright, Clefable is also a 2-turn Pokemon. So yeah, normally that Zapdos fight, what happens is you substitute, it tries to Thunder Wave you, it misses because you can't do that. You Thunder it, it thunders you, substitute breaks. You substitute again, it tries to Thunder Wave you, it can't because you're behind the substitute. You Thunder it, it thunders you, and then you Thunder it and should kill. If you miss any Thunders, then it'll Thunder you at this point and do a bunch of damage. And then if you miss again, it Thunders you again and it kills you. So it takes, at minimum, 1, 2, 3, or 5 turns if you don't get any crits and don't miss. And 5 turns is a lot in this game, because every turn takes like solid 45 seconds to a minute.
Fireworks are flying in this battle.
A wise man once said, using less turns is faster, and faster is good, because that makes your time lower.
Is it down and out?
The nicknames are there because the developers were bored with this game. Alright, so that was actually a decent Cool Trainer M fight. They really wanted to show the color thingy. Pretty much. Alright, so Giovanni's actually like the least bad fight of this gym. It can still kill you. So we will be relying on Articuno, which is slower than both Persian and Tauros, which both do a lot of damage. I said that just now. Literally no one has told me that. That's something I just came up with. Alright, so Tauros does approximately a ton of damage, assuming it hits Fire Blast, which is 85% accurate. Excellent. Love to see it. And I two-shot Tauros unless I freeze him. I mean, I would two-shot him anyways, but he'd be frozen. Alright, so Persian is Giovanni's signature Pokemon. If you get Persian first, it's actually pretty good. Because it normally leads off with a Toxic instead of a Slash. Slash does a ton of damage. So once Persian comes out, assuming it's the second Pokemon, which it probably will be, it's going to go for a Slash instead of a Toxic. Yeah. I don't think any trainers have Articuno, but I know... So, the Cool Trainer has Zapdos, and the Rocket has a Moltres. But yeah, that's definitely a later gym thing. Actually, in round 2, a few of the earlier gyms have legendary Pokemon.
Neither one is conceding an inch.
Switch up to Electrode here. So Swift is not a two-shot. Thunder is a one-shot. We'll go for Thunder here and then self-destruct.
What's that? It didn't do much damage.
Screech is clearly just to set up the other Pokemon.
Pokemon fight.
Oh, true. Fun fact, based on the code for this game in Gen 1, the fact that critical hit ignores modifiers actually seems to be intended by the developers. That's not an oversight.
There's a distinct difference in the number of remaining Pokemon. Oh, it's Rhydon.
It's Rhydon, alright. So we'll just self-destruct here.
The remaining Pokemon count is 3-1. The battle has become one-sided.
Alright, do we want to see a Vaporeon? Press 1 if you want to see Vaporeon.
Yeah, it's a hit.
It's literally the only time we're going to see Vaporeon.
Going down. We're waiting for the next
Sounds
Pokemon.
good. I'm here for the fans.
Oh, it's Vaporeon. The remaining Pokemon stock is 2-1.
Right, that's sir.
Right,
Okay, I thought Rhydon was actually faster than Vaporeon. Interesting. Probably slower anyways, because Surf is a extremely laggy move. But it is what it is.
That's it. Stay clear.
Ride that coast. Yes. Alright, Elite Four time. So there are 5 fights here. There's 4 Elite Four and then the champion, the rival. 4 of the 5 fights suck. Really badly. Partially, in fact, because we need to rely on Thunder. So for this team, for example, we're bringing Jolteon, Zapdos, and Electrode. And we're just going to click the Thunder button. Crit ignores all stat modifiers, so if you were to use like a Swords Dance, for example, and then you crit, the Swords Dance doesn't get applied. If they used Harden, Harden doesn't get applied. If you used Screech and that lowered their defense, that doesn't get applied. It just completely skips the check. Alright, that is actually a 76% range, so missing that's unfortunate, but I can double kick from Cure to Kill. Resets modifiers, oh god.
Pokemon B.
I mean, that wouldn't be bad if, like,
Oh, it's Jinx.
you had your defense lowered or, like, accuracy dropped or something. But,
Entirely different types.
yeah, that is Haze or Clear Smog. But that is not, neither of those are in this game.
Ooh,
Nice.
that's some
Also, fun fact, there's no way to raise your accuracy or lower the opponent's evasion. But there's no moves or items to do that. Or items, never mind, you can raise your both of those with X items, but those aren't in this game.
vigorous attack.
Very nice, that should have been a 2-hit.
Wow, taken down with one hit.
They're
There's
Swifts.
a difference in the number of reserve Pokemon. Oh, it's Cloyster. The remaining Pokemon count is 3-1. The battle has become one-sided. There it goes. It's doubly
And this is a one-shot, excellent. Alright, pretty decent Lorelei. That went pretty well.
And there goes the battle.
Alright, the next fight's Bruno. Bruno's really easy. There's not really much going on in this fight. The only way you can die is if Hitmonlee comes out, it lands a high jump kick, and you don't hit the range, and it lands another high jump kick, and then you don't crit Machamp or hit the range on Hitmonchan. And they land whatever
The next adversary is
whatever attack you need to land.
He is one
Bruno's pretty much free. Like, the chances of you losing this fight are so minimal, it's essentially non-existent.
Face each other. Oh, what a lovely kick! Oh no!
What?
It fell asleep.
Okay, I sent out Jinx instead of Articuno. I am...
Are they testing each other's strength?
I'm like, what? I was totally not paying attention there. I'm like, oh, click the up button. Alright.
Doubly effective.
So this fight's going to be a bit different because I am not the most intelligent person. Fun fact, sleep in this game lasts from 1 to 3 turns instead of, I think it's 2 to 5 in the general Gen 1. So that was also nerfed.
That's a good hit.
You still can't wake up and use a move on the same turn, so it still is really powerful, but...
What will the next Pokemon?
Alright, so we'll just run with Jinx. Why not?
Oh, it's Rhydon.
I think Jinx 2 shots... Yeah, 2 shots will aim in right on, so this would be slower than actually using Articuno.
There's the attack. No, this Pokemon looks wrong.
The graphics in this game are great.
Vigorous attack. Block the weak spot.
Jesus. Okay.
Taken down with one hit.
Alright, so I actually don't know what I have in the back. I'm going to click a random button and hope it's not an electric type Pokemon. Could I have checked? Yes. Would I have? Alright, excellent. It makes it more fun this way. I just hope I don't have like Jolteon in the back and need to like double kick a Golem.
Earthquake. That's the weak spot. Wow! Going down. There's only one Pokemon left in reserve. Oh, it's Hitmonchan. The
Earthquake.
remaining Pokemon stock is 2-1. The 10th battle continues. There it goes. Severe hit.
Mega Punch. Oh, Ice Punch. I did not know he had that.
Savage attack.
Nice.
Oh, it's frozen solid.
Alright, let's find out what the other Pokemon was.
How will this freeze affect the outcome? The trainer's changing Pokemon. Oh, it's Articuno.
It is Articuno. Damn, should have switched to that.
What's this? Yeah, it's
Alright, so that was the comedy Bruno of the run.
Pokemon fight.
I hope you guys enjoyed
Power strike.
the comedy. Normally that's a range actually, so it's not that bad. I mean, Rhydon would have been a one-shot, but it is what it is. Sometimes you don't press the right buttons, and then you just... I'm happy it happened on Bruno instead of For example, the next bad fight, which is Agatha. Alright, so the last... Did that crit matter? I don't think so. He already had damage on him. So the last 3 fights in this game are absolutely ridiculous. So Agatha's first. Agatha has a Haunter, which outspeeds us, and Haunter has Hypnosis, which really sucks. Gengar being first actually isn't bad here, because generally it'll use Bide or switch out. Okay, so it switches out. Oh, okay. Sarcasm over text is hard. Switches out to Arbok. That's actually not bad because I have a chance to one-shot Arbok. It's a 53% range. Alright, okay. So since the special fell, I know that I didn't get the range. Because you can't... a move's effect gets skipped if it's going to kill the Pokemon. So we're just going to Ice Punch, because Ice Punch is slightly faster than Psychic.
What Pokemon will be fighting next? Oh, it's Haunter!
Okay.
How will the type difference affect that?
So Haunter has Hypnosis, and he's faster than me. So if I get put to sleep... Great. So since I know what's in the back, I'm actually going to switch to Nidoking here. Because Haunter can't put me to sleep as Nidoking, because it's... there's already a Pokemon asleep. And from here, I know if it switches to Gengar, then I can one-shot that with Earthquake, or if it stays in, it's going to use Dream Eater here, because it thinks I'm asleep. Nightshade. Never mind, not Dream Eater. It doesn't have Psychic is the point. If it had Psychic, that'd be dangerous, but it doesn't, so we're just going to Earthquake, and if it switches out, it's fantastic. And if it stays in, that we pick up the kill. Okay.
What now? A decent hit. Earthquake. Super effective.
Alright, so there's a 100% chance that
Take it down with one hit.
Gengar kills me here. And then I'll just switch into Jolteon. Switching into Jinx would be a better idea, but in case Haunter takes out Jinx, then Jolteon... Oops, okay, I guess we're staying in for now. Then Jolteon would have a chance to be put to sleep, never mind. Gengar doesn't have Hypnosis. Don't listen to me. We'll still do this though. So potentially slower, but overall I think this is the safer move. At the very least, it'll make Gengar a one-shot with Jinx instead of a two-shot, because it only does 81 to 96 damage. Excellent. So even if Jolteon does... Okay. Even if Jolteon does die here, it's not that bad. I can switch into Jinx and one-shot it once Jinx wakes up. That's a difficult question. My PB is a 135 something. I don't know what the something is though, because the video of my PB is on a hard drive that isn't in my computer anymore. Because I changed computers recently, and the old video's on the other one. Is he actually going to hit me with Bide? I have actually never seen this animation. Still not going to see it. Excellent. Okay. That was Agatha. We did hit up Haunter, but... overall, not bad. Alright, so Lance is also scary. Lance and the rival, the scary parts are, it depends on what they bring and what you want to switch out to and stuff. So depending on what's first, I need to like assume what's in the back, and from there I just need to hope that I don't get demolished. Kangaskhan's actually a really scary Pokemon here. Dragonair's good. So Dragonair's either going to stay in or switch out. If Dragonair stays in, that means that Gyarados is probably second, but if Dragonair switches out, okay. Then it's probably Lapras. Yeah. So again, I can't freeze Lapras because Lapras is a
Leading an inch.
water ice Pokemon.
The Pokemon returns to its Pokeball. Oh, it's electric. What now? The attack
But I can paralyze it. Or get a crit and kill it with Thunder.
What Pokemon fight? There's the attack. Wow, that's an effective hit.
50. Don't like Blizzard. Fun fact, Blizzard has a 90% accuracy chance here, and also in, I think it was the Japanese main series game, but also in the first Stadium game, the Japanese only one, Blizzard had a 30% chance to freeze instead of a 10% chance. So Blizzard is scary now, but it used to be very scary.
We're waiting for the next Pokemon. Here's a Pokemon.
Alright, so does Dragonair. We'll just self-destruct here.
The Pokemon
And get Articuno back in.
It's self-destruct. A savage hit. Wow.
That actually does a lot of damage.
Goes down.
I still wouldn't have killed with a Thunder and then a self-destruct, but
Coming out.
it's all good.
Here's a Pokemon.
So chances it can switch again. Hopefully there's not... Okay, no switch. So in the back it's probably either Aerodactyl or Charizard. Both of which are good for me. And we can wrap a nice little bow on this fight.
There's only one Pokemon left in reserve. Oh, it's Kangaskhan.
It is Kangaskhan. So Kangaskhan does outspeed me.
Pokemon stock is 2-1. The 10th battle continues. Whoa!
And has Rock Slide, which does a lot of damage. So I can't take two of these. I'm just going to sack Articuno here
What's this?
because I want Jolteon at full health. That's not going to kill. I want Jolteon at full health when it comes in. Oh, that does kill.
Down! That didn't take much. That's it.
Calculated.
Save.
Excellent. Wait, what was 4 times effective? Oh, Rock Slide, yes. Yeah, Articuno is a tanky boy. Or girl. Alright, so this is the rival fight. This is the last fight of the game, so time will be coming up somewhat soon. So hopefully don't see Electabuzz here.
The final battle against the rival. This is the final.
Okay, that's actually really good. So this is a 89% range. Slipper is one of the best Pokemon to get here because you can kill him in one shot, but the fact that he's switching out means that he's probably going into Electabuzz. Or Executor, actually. Executor. That's actually not too bad, because Jolteon does have Pin Missile, which does 23 to 28 damage per Pin Missile. It can hit up to 5 times. So this actually isn't too bad.
What now?
Okay.
No, this Pokemon looks wrong.
So I need 4 hits here to kill 4 to 5. 4 or 5 hits is a 1 in 4 chance, so it's 1 in 8 for both of them. 2 or 3 hits is a 3 out of 8 chance for each. So it's 3 on 8, 3 on 8, 1 on 8, 1 on 8. So hopefully I get 4 or 5, never mind.
Wow, that's an effective hit.
Or crit, that's true. So crits for multi-hit moves in this game, it only checks the crit on the first one. So if the first one crits, they all crit. If the first one doesn't crit, none of them crit.
What's this?
Okay,
Smack the weak spot.
so that's good.
It's down.
So now we get Slowbro in the back, which is good, because even if Jolteon does die, I do have Zapdos,
Which Pokemon
and I can
is
deal with it like
coming
that.
out? Oh, it's
Uh,
perfect.
Ninetales is fine, so Ninetales is gonna dig. But once it does, I just switch out to Zapdos, and from there I basically win. So the rival fight can snowball if he brings like, oh nice. If he brings like Electabuzz and Ninetales and like other bad Pokemon. Actually, you know what? I think we'll just go into Nidoking and tank the Earthquake.
The Pokemon returns to its Pokeball.
This shouldn't kill. Wait.
Savage attack. Whoa, looks like a
I'm faster than Ninetales, right? Pretty sure I'm faster than Ninetales.
How will the swapped Pokemon
Ninetales outspeed. I'm an idiot. Alright, that's okay. We're gonna switch into Zapdos. This was all calculated.
Earthquake. Oops, that's a miss. The intense
I tried to metagame. Always follow the notes. The notes were written by people who know what they're doing.
Oh, it's Zapdos. What now?
No, Earthquake only starts hitting
Will this
Pokemon Underground in Gen 2 when they decided to add like those special clauses. It's like if you use Harden then roll out, it does more damage, or if you use Minimize and then someone uses Stomp on you, it does more damage. Nice.
Down. That didn't take much. There's a difference in the number of
Pokemon Stadium Kaizo mode. You're thinking of round 2. So round 2 gets unlocked after you beat round 1. And round 2 is very depressing.
The remaining Pokemon count is 3-1. The battle has become one-sided. Whoa! Super effective. Why? Take it down with one hit. Congratulations! You win!
And that is the end of Gym Leader Castle. So that rival fight went a lot better than expected. And normally time ends right here. The red X appears. Alright, only one death, so you know what? The estimate might have been a bit nice. Marathon safe run, let's go guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed Pokemon Stadium. It's not a bad game to pick up, as long as you're not grinding for record, or for like a sub 140 or something like that. It's a pretty chill game, I like it. Does round 2 have Toxic Stallers? I hope so. Alright, now the best part of the game is that once you beat the Elite Four, you get a Pokemon. Excellent. I think the last one was like Hitmonlee or something. Excellent. So that's it from you guys. That was Pokemon Stadium. I hope you guys enjoyed. Again, check this game out. It's pretty cool. Next up is Pocket Gaiden, which is a Pokemon Emerald ROM hack. So that sounds... You cannot pet the Eevee in this game. But yeah, Pokemon Emerald ROM hack. If you've seen ROM hack runs before, they're really cool. If you haven't, this should be your first one, because they're cool. Just watch it. I have not played this one in particular, but I've played other ROM hacks, and watching the runs for them are really cool, so I'd recommend sticking around. Yeah, that's it for me. I think they're still setting up the next round, so I'm going to play minigames until they kick me out.